I just got tired of dying. So, so thus here we are.
Oh, I'm not giving it up
So,
yet. I'm still holding
Mm,
on strong, pretending I don't have that gray hair.
oh, yeah. I think if we were still going into the office, it might have been different. I don't think I could have dealt with the, changing of the hair.
The transition period,
Hi,
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, well, see, and I got dark hair to begin with, so mine is like a big contrast when you see it coming through.
Um, my hair is almost very dark too, normally.
Okay,
Yes, yes, I have very dark hair.
okay.
I dyed it a little bit lighter as I got older, it got
Oh,
lighter.
I see what you did there. Okay,
Yep,
okay, that was
yep.
smart.
Well, welcome to Spilling Ink.
You never know what we're going to talk about. Hey,
Yes.
Anita. I love it. Anita's always right there as soon as we start. I guess we should get going then. So yeah, as Jane said, welcome everybody. We're Spilling Ink, the talk show that takes you behind the book to meet the authors and professionals in the publishing industry. And this is our last show of the year, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness, where did this year go? And
It
I'm not
went
ready for
it
Christmas.
went zap gone. We blinked and it was gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
you're
gets
not
worse as you get
joking.
older. I'm sorry, guys. It just does.
Oh, yeah, we're just gonna have to deal with it. It is what it is, right?
Right.
And we've got Cara this week to come chit chat with us. How are you doing tonight, Cara?
good.
You ready
Tired.
for the end of the year?
Sure. Yeah, it's like it's as ready as it gets, right? Like I have plans. We'll see how they work out.
Hmm.
You know.
Anita says good riddance to 2022. I don't know, because it seems like every year it's been getting a little bit worse. I'm not sure I want to see what
Yeah.
2023 has to offer.
Yeah, for the first time, I actually have outside plans for New Year's Eve. So, yay!
Oh, what are you
We're,
doing?
we're going down to York Beach, meeting up with friends, and staying at a hotel down there that has a Christmas party. They went to it last year and said it was great. We said, okay, we'll do it this year.
Very
So,
cool. I will
yes.
probably spend New Year's the same way I have for the last couple of years. I'll be comfortable in my home, and maybe we'll stay up for the fireworks, but probably not.
It's like, oh man, I have to find clothes for the New Year's
Wow.
Eve party. I haven't done that yet. Oops.
Uh-oh. Oh, you better hurry up. We don't have too many weeks left before it happens.
I'll find something.
You say that. I'm like scrambling. I could have sworn there was an extra week left before my kids went on Christmas break. No, this coming week is it. That's it. I have to have everything done that I need to have
There's
done before they go on break now.
literally 14 days. 14 days. Today's the 10th. 14 days to Christmas Eve.
No, I'm not ready.
I'm totally ready because I don't care. Like I just I do all my stuff. I do all my stuff early, and I don't, like I don't go anywhere, and I don't really. Even when I was in the military, like I would volunteer to work the holidays so that I didn't have to deal with holidays. I would be like, oh no, if you have a family, go ahead. I will take your shift because I did not. The travel, the like the stress, and it's not like I don't want to be around people, but I like being around people when there's not like all this pressure and expectation,
I mean, I used to love it when they'd come to me. When they'd come to my house for Christmas,
That's
for
I've got
everything,
like
because it's like I loved that. But now we go down to my daughter's because everybody conglomerates there because all the people are in Connecticut, not up here in New Hampshire, and then they come up here afterwards. So
yeah, I go nowhere.
yeah.
I think probably like we used to do that. We would alternate, and because, but now like the last 3 years, but I would say probably the last 10 years, we're just like I'm done traveling for holidays. done with it.
Mm,
Because we're always the one doing the traveling because we're the ones that are not located near,
right.
near
Family.
family. And so and you're always expected to be the one to make the trip. But then it's like, that's a significant trip. It's a significant effort to
Mhm.
get there and then, be caught up in.
Worst time of year to travel.
Yeah,
Most
like
expensive
it's
times to
not
travel. Yeah,
like, I
it's
love
not.
you, but no. And
Yeah, I've gotten stuck in Cincinnati.
mhm.
The only time I've ever been in Cincinnati overnight on Christmas Day. And we got to the hotel and they said you could order room service, but we get to the hotel, they didn't have room service. It was Christmas. So my
No way.
little children had to eat vending machine
Wow,
stuff.
talk about a
Yeah.
memorable Christmas.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then that should go in a book.
Yeah.
The
My
vending machine
5-year-old.
Christmas.
Yes, my 5-year-old and less than 1-year-old.
Oh, oh, that's so much fun. Oh,
Mm.
But you made it work.
Yes, we did, and we laugh
And
about
they
it
probably
now.
had a good time. Yeah, because like as a
Yeah.
kids, like
Yeah.
that would probably be like, you were probably
It's like Pop
horrified by
Tarts
it,
for
but for
dinner?
them, heck
Yay!
yeah. For them, they're like, give me that Reese cup, the Snickers. Let's get it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. They were probably like, this is the best ever. And you're just
I
like,
love that.
I
That's a
can't
great
feed my
spin.
children.
Mhm.
But you're right. They would be excited for something like that. That's a
It's
good
that
way to spin it.
perspective.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
it is. It is. So
Now, how about in like the professional sense as authors? Are we ready for the end of the year? Do we have promotions we're trying to do? Do we have schedules we're trying to meet? Deadlines? I know I've got a couple of those that I'm rushing to the finish on.
Yes.
Like that's the stress right there. Like, yeah, the family stuff, sure, but like the crap you have to get done before the end of the year.
Mhm.
Oh,
mhm.
Well, and and it always seems like there's going to be more time, because
Yeah.
because everyone during the holiday season, and that's what, before it, for at least for me as an author, but I think for a lot of authors, like that October to February to March probably is that huge bash of holiday. And I say February primarily because I'm a romance writer, right? So
Right.
if you're all romance writers, Valentine's Day is like Christmas 2.0. Like
Yeah.
it is just that big of a deal in the marketing, arena of it. And if you're a paranormal author, that rolling into October, and then you've got the regular holidays, and then the next thing you know, it's Valentine's Day, and then summer is rolling around, and you've got your beach reads, and we work on that same kind of retailer system, but the end of the year is like back to back punches for
Right.
for planning, and yet you still have to get ready for
The light,
the next
the lives, and the next thing, and everything. Yes.
the next physical year,
Mhm.
regardless of where your fiscal year is, but the next physical year is like right around there. And yeah, so like I don't even know how many groups I'm in for doing like takeovers and promotion parties and whatever, and I'm just trying to entertain, that's it. Like, are you not entertained? Like, I feel like I got stuff going on in my group. I'm like, signed up to do stuff to help other people that are in, other anthologies that are, aiming for things. And then I signed up for another list aim myself. And then I got my Kickstarter in January, and I have big plans and lots of things that are done, but none of it's, even though all that stuff is like ready, it doesn't stop because I have to keep ahead, or else I'm going to run out. And that's
Yeah.
It's like a treadmill. You're constantly
Yeah.
constantly on, constantly cycling through. Kickstarter. That was always that's always been interesting to me. Can you talk a little bit about like your process jumping into this Kickstarter and what you're experiencing? Because
So,
I watch from the sidelines and I'm like, I don't know if I could pull something like that off.
okay. So, true story. When I started my podcast, Creative Writing with Dr. Nagel, probably like 3 years ago when we moved here to the mountains and I realized I didn't have anyone to talk to. So I started a podcast. And all of these comic book and graphic novel artists, for whatever reason, they found me first. And because I would interview them, they just came. And one of them happened to be Russell Nolte. And Russell is like the Kickstarter king. I didn't even know what Kickstarter was until that podcast. That was 3 years ago. Since then, I have been not like officially stalk. No, I don't stalk him like I stalk Jake Gyllenhaal, but like I've been watching what he's been doing, like how he works his system. And then fortunately he must have like completely got that vibe, and he wrote a book, and he's got like a whole class and everything. And I can't at this point afford to go to the school that him and Monica Lionel put together, but I did buy the book. And so for the past, and even before I got the book, so for the past year and a half, I've been planning to do a Kickstarter. And it was just about picking what I was going to do that with. And I had, at that time, I thought I would do it with my young adult series, my Drummonds, because I have their, like the first 3 books of that, right? It was like Drum Fight Break. And then the readers who read it asked me, well, what about their kids? Are you going to write them as teenagers? And so we get to see them as parents. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So I wrote their kids. And then people were like, well, are you going to write their kids as parents? So the following for that series is very invested in it. And I did. But the thing is, like, I don't know how many people would be, that interested in like Gen 2, because I've got like the originals Gen 1 and then now Gen 2. So I'm going to see how it goes with Harpy and the Crossbow University series, which is a dark contemporary new adult. Like, it is a mind mess. Like, I don't even know what to tell you. Like, yeah. So Crossbow is, this is like an adult content show, right? Like,
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So I am an avid like reader, audiobook listener, really, because you get limited time with the reading. And I got tired of reading, like these situations where it's like in like the reverse harem and the bully and the dark and whatever. And it seems like the female character, she's just always getting tormented and punished with multiple orgasms. And I'm like, what? Like, this is like
that's a punishment.
I've been bullied in my life. I'm not going to tell you. It never felt like that. So Crossbow kind of came as a result of reading, too many of those books and thinking, I want her to be, kick ass, but I also, I want there to be like the absence of that. You know what I mean? That these things are going. So that's how Harpy happened. And yeah, like when she gets there, they are definitely not like sexing her up. I mean, she's like doing actual, like work and chores and like everything but in the beginning. And people really seem to like it because it's a mess. They're all like emotionally messed up and twisted with different things. And so I wrote the next 2 in that series, but I didn't publish the next 2 because I was like, well, I'm going to do something special with it. And because the readers really want it, I was like, I'm going to do that one for the Kickstarter. So that's how that ended up. But it's got all kinds of really, really like neat stuff. So like, I don't know if I can reach it. Right. And so like I'm working with all kinds of people that I've met just over the years through this writing journey. And so like the Creative Conspiracy girls, they took this design that I did up for it so that, and so this will be in like one of the tiers where you can get it. And then the bunny house, it's the, you know, the house bunny that it's got a significant role in there. You know, it's how she ends up in their fraternity to begin with as an employee. And then she just kind of takes over from there, but it just gets crazy.
Cool.
So when does the Kickstarter start running?
January 10th.
Okay.
The preview link is up now, so you can kind of go see the insanity that I've got going on over there with it. And so with that, right, the planning for it is planning. It's planning merch on small scale and working with people that understand that this might not make, you know. So if it doesn't make, then I've just got a prototype of something so that I can put it up there as a potential or as a possibility. And then, you know, there's the stockpiling and hoarding of stickers and pens and things, because those are on sale like right through this holiday season. So you can't wait to find out if that's going to make or not. You've got to get those deals now, because if that makes in January, they're not going to be on sale. So it's a lot of planning for anyone who is looking at potentially doing it. I would definitely suggest getting that book, you know, from Russell and Monica, and like reading it, studying some other Kickstarters, going there, funding, like even if you back them, you know, at $1 here and there, you get to see the emails that they're sending. You get to see how they're handling the campaign. And that just helps you as far as like ideas of like what you can do, what you can offer, to make it attractive and appealing to, you know, to people out there who may be giving you a shot for the first time. And that's the wild part of it, right? Is like I have book 1 is out there. As like clickbait, I guess. But it comes out of KU in time for the Kickstarter. And then, you know, that's the only place you're going to get book 2 and 3. And then it won't be until 4 months after that, then I'll put book 2 and 3 up, you know, wide. So
that's a lot of planning, a lot more work to do than I think most people expect.
Yeah.
And like you just said, you're doing it now for something that starts in January. So like,
right,
you're adding to your deadlines of things that have to be done before the end of the year.
Yeah.
And then knowing that, like, you know, you're not going to, if you're relying on the Kickstarter funds to cover some of the cost of things, right? So if you're putting people's names in the acknowledgements, and so I have like a tier on there where that can happen. That means I can't send a book to print until I have everyone's names.
Right.
And so I have the prototype, right, of a book without that. And then I have to, you know, send it and do the bulk order of the books, you know, with that. And again, like artwork or anything else that's getting commissioned in the process of this,
right,
you know, it's like, oh, here's a sample of something. If this doesn't fund, then that sample's going nowhere, you know.
right.
So it's just wild.
And you have to be careful with commissioned artwork, because it has to have the right licenses. Sorry.
Yes.
my brain just blanked. Like, I'm sorry, my husband's cleaning in the other room.
I've
Like,
seen
what
him
is he
pass by a
doing?
few times.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you are
But yeah.
offering, like, so if I had something made that is that I'm giving away with it, that's one thing. But if I'm like going to put together a sticker pack that they can sell, then I need the commercial, I need those commercial rights as well to put that through.
Yes.
So that's it puts a little bit more on, like the funding of things. But fortunately, both of the artists that I have working on that are, are aware. The artists who's they've both done Kickstarters too.
Okay.
So that was,
That's
that,
good.
and that's another thing, right? Is if you're talking to someone about it, you don't want just someone who's awesome at art if you're needing them
Commercial
to
licenses,
understand what you're doing with this art.
Right.
So if they've done it before with their own, with their art, then they're way more likely to, to get it and to know what you don't know that you need. And so that was even, both of my artists were like, okay, well, let me get you some samples, or let me get you some stuff that you can, if it's launching in January, so that you have at least something to represent what this is going up, in January. So,
right.
And someone else might not have done that, they might not have even thought about that, because to them, it's just art in their queue. Mm-hmm. So I've been really, like hunting and searching and working, and then trying to find things that people don't typically, offer with them. I have with the add-ons, I have crazy, add-on type things. Like you can almost like a movie, right? Where you can do a walk-on in the book, that kind of stuff, because I have, and not in the first 3 here, but I'm writing now books 4, 5, and 6. Mm-hmm. And so they would have a walk-on in, in those.
That's cool.
So it's an opportunity in that way too.
Right.
And then, I just did a whole push to get stuff from other authors to send out to my Patreon, right? So that's a whole nother thing that, and I love them, because I write stuff in there, and mm-hmm. I share with them. I take their feedback on it. They knew before anyone else that I was doing this. They gave me like their input on everything, from like what to include to what to blurb.
Okay.
That's helpful.
And so for Michelle's question there, the hardest thing about doing it is doing it. So far, I would say the hardest thing. So far, the hardest thing about doing it is planning it, right? Because, and I wouldn't even say that it's the hardest thing about it. It's the thing that takes the longest, because there are certain things that you don't have until you have it in order to be able to plan, right? So until I finished the 3rd book, I didn't know how many pages this anthology would be. Mm-hmm. And they haven't been, like they haven't been edited yet. So they're in that, lineup. So to even have an estimate when I'm looking at pricing books for hardcover, or for, for the foil, or for any of the special edition kind of stuff, I had to have a window of page counts to put in there, and then a window of like, well, how many of these am I going to order? And so I have like 4 or 5 different estimates, based on that. So that I have some picture of, if this campaign succeeds, if they get this many, how many can I, how many can I get? How do I maximize, this? So it's that. And
So it's not something you would wing. It's not
no,
something you would wing.
I would not recommend winging it. If you're a pantser, don't fly by the seat of your pants on Kickstarter.
I feel called out over here.
I'm a pantser when it comes to writing.
Right now.
I know, right?
I'm
I'm a pantser when it comes to writing. My characters, like, they start off one way and then they take me someplace else. Like even with this series, like if somebody would have told me that I was going to write this, 5 years ago, I'd have been like, you are out of your mind. I don't write that. But now I do. And I think that COVID did this to me, honestly. I've read because
it's all COVID's fault.
I became like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like 2 sodas short of being in The Shining up here in this cabin. So it's like, I would have gone to the dark side in the writing, and I'm tempering that with other things, but I'm in there. Like I don't know. So yeah, that's what I would say is the hardest part about Kickstarter is the planning. And I would say give yourself at least 6 to 12 months if you're doing it, and go now over there and you can back someone for $1 and get like the updates and stuff that you can start looking at and determining like what language you like from that. And it's probably the teacher, the college professor in me for teaching teaching online. After you start getting the same feedback, you're like giving your students the same feedback. You open up a form and start typing that in as a template. So you can move it over. And that's the kind of the same thing there. It's like, if I see that people are sending the same type of information, then I know that that's information that people who are on this platform expect to see. And so I'm going to need to provide those types of updates. So I just reverse engineer everything.
Yep. Do your research.
This is why I haven't done it yet.
Yes.
But more authors are starting to look at it and to use it. And so I am always the person who tends to be last to the post, right? So I did Kindle Worlds when they were closing, right? It's like I came there and then they closed. All pretty much anything that like reverse harem. Like, I am not a trend person. I write things when they come to me. And so I could be influenced by trends if I really start to like something, or if my brain starts to rebel against something and wants to do it a different way. But I just kind of write what pops up, who's screaming the loudest in my head at that time. And it's crazy because I feel like I'm always on the end of things. And I told myself that was my plan, right? For September, I do my annual planning in September because that's when I was born. So it's the annual plan for my life, not just my career. And I told myself that I was not doing that this year, that I was not going to wait to be the last out the gate, that I was going to stop being so cautious to the point that it was detrimental. And that's the reason why I put, it's the reason why I have a Patreon. It's the reason why I'm doing the Kickstarter. It's the reason why I put a couple stories up on Bella. I'm just, if something doesn't work, that's cool. I'll just, keep it moving. Those books are going to come out one way or the other. They just might take longer. I mean, they're done. And that's the thing, right? Is like when you have a stack of, you have like a folder full of written stories that you don't just want to self-edit and put out there. You want to go through the hard way to get a higher quality product, but a higher quality product means it costs more.
Mm-hmm.
And as an indie author, if there isn't enough of a return on that, like you can stay in the red
For years.
quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I it's like I can't continue to justify living in the red. And so that's why I'm doing it, because if I can get enough just to even cover my edits, that's huge for me.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I would get to do all the fun stuff that I don't really get to do with my books because I don't have the the funding to do it. So
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of really cool stuff that authors have done lately with their books, especially when they've found that kind of funding.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's really not even me. It's like, what do the readers want? And the readers, like the collectors, right? Because probably most of the people who are going to come and get this, they want the stuff. They've all got the ebook, right? That's out there. They want the next book. They're probably going to read it as an ebook. They want the special because they're collectors. So just like,
The book boxes that I'm in. Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Like it's, you want
the special editions.
Yeah. You
Signed by the
want
author.
the pretty things. That's why you can go into the stores and find like Jane Austen's book with 7 different, covers and different designs and everything. And because we're collectors, that's what we do. I mean, how many of us as authors, we collect journals? There aren't even words in the majority of them. Like we collect books without words, and we don't put words in them. They're just blank lines of possibility, and we collect them by the dozen.
I swear I will use them one day.
Same, right? Like, and so when we're looking at things like, why would somebody want that book, or why do they want the pictures, and why do they want the overlays, and because they're collectors. Why do grown men go to, Walmart at midnight to get Star Wars action figures? They're collectors. That's what we do.
No, I totally get it. I agree. And to be able to do those fun things for your own book is extra special.
Yes. And that's why I want to do it, is because it's exciting. I mean, I can slow roll my writing another 20 years, like I've been doing it for a long time. But I'd rather not if I don't have to.
Yeah. I mean, this was one of the reasons why I didn't do a Kickstarter, but I just started rolling out the hardcover complete edition. So one book has all of the books in the series. One, I like hardcovers; they're pretty. And it's like, okay, I want to be able to offer that, but I want it to be more special. So it's not through a Kickstarter, because as soon as I get a cover and fit it into the narrow guidelines that Amazon and Barnes and Noble have for hardcovers, I roll them out. But it's just like, it's like, oh, okay, since because up until last year, was it last year that Amazon opened up the beta?
I think so, like a year and a half.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh, hardcover. Okay. That would be kind of fun if I had this in it or that in it. And now I'm, striving to have all my series compilations together. So it's like, yeah, I'm going to try that. Yeah, I don't get
that's
journals.
A good comment. We get the journals because they're beautiful and full of potential, but we're afraid our words are not good enough for them. Oh, I feel that one. It's true, though. Some of those journals, you're like, I need to save that for a very special thing that I'm going to write about.
Yeah.
It's just too pretty to mar, with anything that's subpar. You get it.
I'm odd. I don't get them because my handwriting is hideously awful. And
I love journals.
my handwriting, I'll start to write somewhat neat, and then it like goes off. It's awful. So
No, I
it's like,
can't read my own chicken scratch either.
no. So a journal to me, unless it was an online one, um, I'm not a collector of journals.
Oh, speaking of journals, I should probably plug this one because this is
Yes,
going to be going
yes.
live very soon. So, for those of you who know about the Acknowledge and Heal PTSD Guide for Women, we now have a journal which 365 days of prompts, of doodling pages, of coloring pages, health trackers, trigger trackers, pretty much anything that you can think of that you would want to help you along your journey towards healing. We've included in this massive 400 page, took me forever and a day to format a journal.
And it's
And I just got it
beautiful.
today, so you can tell it's got the stripe. It's not live yet.
Yeah.
But we've got this one, and we've also got one that's going to be going with the Soldier's Guide. Same 400 pages, slightly different interior, obviously, because it's more geared towards the soldiers. But I've been working for the past month on getting these ready, and I know Virginia is excited about them. And as soon as I get approval, those are going live. So definitely a journal
that
worth
looks
keeping.
awesome, though. Yes.
This is definitely one I think that will be super useful. We put our heart and soul into the books, and so the journal was just like an extension of that.
Mm-hmm. Which is awesome.
And it'll be helpful. And oh my God, the formatting. Oh, I'm gonna have nightmares over the formatting forever.
Same here, but not the same formatting that you're doing. Having those, the bleed and non-bleed and
Bleed settings. Oh
yes.
yeah. Worked out in the end.
Yes.
But yeah, the
all that
idea was to
matters.
create something beautiful and useful, and hopefully we did it.
Mhm.
Oh, we got some comments popping in here. Let's see. When you do a set in one book, do you offer an incentive like a discounted price or bonus material?
Well, it's a hardcover, so it's more expensive than the ebook, obviously. Sometimes there's bonus material in there, or sometimes it's a like what I'm doing for two of my series now. It's a re-edited version, so it's a tighter writing than it was way back, because these are my first series. So yes.
And Anita sympathizes with the formatting issues. Yeah. Formatting for regular novels, I mean, that's a hassle in itself. And then trying to format a journal.
with pictures that you can color. And some of those are really awesome.
I spent many a night screaming at my computer, why won't this work?
It's like, step away from the keyboard.
But it will all be worth it if it is helpful and useful to other people.
Yes,
That was the end goal.
exactly.
Make it
Exactly.
worthwhile. Of course,
Definitely.
I have my own trauma now.
Right.
Formatting.
I think, you know what, I think that's another book that you all should you guys should work on, because I don't have time to work on it, but I've always got, that is like my number one line, is like, this would be a great thing for someone else to write because I don't have time for it. But think about, like, for authors, I don't want to say like the trauma, but like the journey of authoring is different and the same, right? Like, there are elements of it that are the same, but there are pieces of it that are very different. And it would be interesting because it's something that I would do with my creative writing classes, right? Like, you'd have them write something at the beginning and then you'd have them read that something at the end so they can see the difference in that journey.
The
And
difference, yes.
I think that a lot of times authors get hung up on the amount of money that they're making versus the difference that they might be making, or the progress that they're making just within their own journey, because we are in it. We're not removed enough from it to see it or to experience it. And it's not until you go back to like your first books and you're like, who the blip wrote that? How did that get past? You know, and then you get that sense of nostalgia of that person who was just starting out, whose the biggest stress was just getting published, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to go back and tell that person, this is not your biggest worry.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
it's after you're published. Like,
Although in doing the going back, I recently read one of the series and to try to clean it up and format it, and I actually read it and I cried and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this is heart-wrenching. And then I'm like, I really wrote this. But it was just like, I'm sitting there, I'm trying to edit and do this stuff and I'm crying and I'm like, what is wrong with me?
well, it's
So,
because it's good. It's like all
Mhm.
this time has passed and those characters still have that
and I miss
impact.
them. I miss those characters. It made me miss them even more. So
Well,
Stop
they become like
murdering
family.
them.
Like an
yeah.
extended family after a while. You know them, you know what's going on in their lives, and you
Oh
get to go
yeah.
back and check in on them.
Yeah. Well, this family has been through from book 1 to the end of Death Chronicles 2. So that's over, a span of what? 12 years?
Yeah, long
Something like
time.
that, because they
Some of those
creep up.
deaths are really
They creep up in
heart-wrenching.
stories. They creep up. What? What,
So
Katie?
some of those deaths are heart-wrenching, by the way.
Yes, they are.
It's
and sometimes they come back.
Yes.
That's
But
kind of
yes.
nice. Yeah, when you're writing contemporary, you can't always do that in a traditional or that same kind of way. And that, I mean, it is one of the reasons why I've explained to everyone with that YA series like Gen 2, like it ends there, because in order for it to continue, I would have to kill off the character that started it all, and I won't. I won't take him into
I have
that.
like what, 4 generations, 5 generations from that first one.
Yeah. And you have to lose people because that's life, right? So you have to pick and choose, like, who's getting the axe, who's getting
as Katie knows, I don't really have a problem with that when I'm writing it. If the story calls for it, I go there.
Yeah, you're going to go with the things that hurt the most, because that's what's going to have the biggest impact on your characters. It's going to have the biggest impact on your readers. But it's also, like unless it's a character you want to kill, it's hard.
Right. Oh yeah. It has been
to make that decision.
And reading it again, it's like, oh my God, And I'm going all the way back to the beginning with the two series that I'm trying to fit into the hardcover right now. So it's
a lot of
interesting.
So going back to Michelle's question about whether or not Miss Taylor here gets to add in bonus content. Right now, she has too many pages. She's trying to figure out if she can.
Yeah,
there'd be no bonus in this book.
The bonus is the book.
The bonus is the book.
Yeah.
But
and that in itself for a collector is a thing.
Yeah.
Limited edition. You're only going to get this form, in this one option.
Right.
Use your deleted scenes in your, like if you delete things in the edit, like then put them in your newsletter as like bonus content. Like that. These are deleted scenes. Look, what did it make the cutting floor? We again, right? We're collectors by nature. We're just hoarders of art and artistic things. It's why we go to see like that extra 15 minutes of whatever movie they release. Like, and then if you don't even understand, like, where did those 15 minutes come from? Like, I don't, It's why Avatar is coming back, right?
I still don't get that. It's so far removed.
Oh
But it is what it is.
So,
hello, cat.
This is Ricky Bobby. El Diablo, the fighting chicken, from Talladega Nights. We lost our cat Charlie. We didn't lose him. He passed. And I was like determined like that was it. Like we were not going to do another cat. You know what I mean? Because at some point there's an age when people, you know, don't typically have children for a reason. That same age is where you probably shouldn't have kittens for a reason. So, but my husband was really, you know, dealing with some grief there, and so I was like, well, if we're meant to have cats, like another cat, it'll happen. And then these two little boys, Joseph and he named them Shake and Bake. Yeah. They're brothers. They're very, you know, like Shake and Bake. It's Ricky Bobby and Cal Naughton Jr. And I don't think Ricky Bobby got the message that he's supposed to be my husband's cat. His brother totally has that. He's very calm or whatever. This one, not so much. He knocks over everything, attacks me. He wants to be like wherever I am. He's a mess. And some of that's nice, but some of it's like,
I love cats, but I'm allergic to them.
Oh. Yeah, so is my husband.
Touch them, yeah, when I touch them or they rub against my face, I break out like in hives. But being around them, I'm fine. Yes.
He has all the congestion, and then he will. So if he spends too much time like playing with them, or if they sleep on him or whatever, then he's got to shower in order to get breathability back. Yeah, no, it doesn't hit my nose. It makes me itch like it's like crazy. And if God help me if I pet a cat and rub my eye, my eye yeah. It's like having pink eye. Allergies. Yeah, it's like having pink eye, and it feels like I have glass in my eye. I grew up with cats. That my parents always had one, and so it was very difficult. Knowing that I was allergic, but I love them. They're so sweet sometimes, and sometimes not. There's the other one. Yep. Hello, Cal. He's much easier. Aww. Of course, I say that he's going to probably show out now and knock some shit over. He's going to jump on the back of your chair, right? Like liar of you. Yeah. You must prove her wrong. So, what book stuff are we talking about? So, but speaking of cats, like these cats have inspired me. So, like one of the other things in my Kickstarter is that you can name a cat. Like if we get to it, like if it hits like a certain thing, like one of the bonus are, like whatever levels that are unlocked is that everyone will get to name a cat, because I'm kind of inspired by that cat restaurant in Georgia and Savannah, because I go to Literary Love Savannah annually. That event, I'm part of the volunteer staff there. I love that event. I love the readers there. And I hear about that restaurant every single time we go. Like somebody will go with a group of people down there because you eat like at the restaurant, but the restaurant is also full of cats. So you just got cats where you can pet them, play with them, whatever, the whole time you're in there. And I thought, that would be kind of fun to put in a book in a little bit of a different way. So I'm gonna put a stop chewing on that. I'm gonna put a place in again, 4, 5, and 6 that has a cat house of sorts.
I love that idea.
And so you'll get to name the cat, and that way, if you get the book, then you'll know which cat was yours.
Aw.
Fun little incentives. I like that.
Yes.
Well, good luck with the Kickstarter. I mean, it sounds like you have put so much time and effort and thought into getting this ready. And you said it starts in January.
Yeah, January 10th. And you can see just 22 days.
Wow.
So it's a very short campaign, because I again, like that's one of the things that they recommend in the book is like if it's your first if it's your first launch, go, you know, like go small. So I have like you have to plan big but launch small because you know you've got to be able to scale it. And
So how
that's
many
what
levels
I've
are
done.
there?
I have I think I have like 6 different like backer levels.
Incentives. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but then for the like when I hit different milestones, whether it's a dollar milestone or a number of people backing it milestones. So like my first milestone, just to even get 10 people to back it, which could be 10 people at $1, right? Like is when I get 10 people, then I will put the playlists up. I'll share like my playlist that I used for inspiration for the books. And then the next one is for the art. There's one for, if we hit that, then it's for the comic book. You know, just other things, all the way up to if I get like the big one, for to be able to put it in audio.
Okay.
So
Wow. You'll have to come back and let us know how it goes. I'm
Yes.
very interested to see, you know, all the planning and everything, how it plays out. And like I said, I've
go
seen
follow
starters,
it.
but I have not
Yeah.
haven't dived in and tried one myself. But definitely sounds like a very intricate process.
And I may be, and again, because I've been stalking, you know, Russell for 3 years, like I may be overdoing it for a, you know, because I've been like, because I have been like reverse engineering this thing for so long and taking so many notes and watching and planning and whatever. Is like, I don't know if the average person that's doing them is, you know, going to go on this scale or with this much. But I am. So.
Well, it sounds like you're setting yourself up for success. So,
Which is good.
yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what other people are doing. You've done all of your homework. You are prepared for it, and you're setting yourself up so that you will have everything ready to go.
And I applaud you for that. Seriously, you know, writing, doing all the things we've been doing for the sets we're in, and kicking this off. That's amazing. Along with a full-time job.
So where do you find the extra hours in the day? Because I swear, you know, there's 24 of them, but that doesn't feel like there's 24 of them.
No.
So I don't have a life outside of this cabin. I mean, we, you know, like we live in the middle of nowhere, and winter is coming, and I mean, once it gets cold up here, I mean,
Nobody
what am
goes
I
out.
doing? Where am I going? And then when it snows, I'm definitely not going anywhere. That's why I said, like, I have to write, because otherwise it would get like real shining, like real quick around here. Because there's nothing. Like, I live literally in a cabin in the woods, and I get a lot of writing done actually because I have, you know, like, what else am I going to do? Cook?
Yeah. I
I'm not
don't
good at
follow
that.
shows. Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, okay, yeah, now I'm writing at night after the day job.
Well, and that's it, right? So I have my day job, and my day job starts at like 7:30 in the morning. And it is very project based. So sometimes I can be on there and I can work on like what I'm working on, admin wise. But I might not hear from my team for, you know, like a week. So it's just sort of like, I can, again, like over here, you know, I have the Cricut and whatever, like I can be doing that and doing this.
Right.
And so I multitask like a crazy person.
Yes.
Yeah. Like it's so like while I'm doing that work, I'm doing this so that in my off time from that work, or in the I only do coaching, 3 or 4 nights a week. And, that's a part-time job for university because I need to, stay within that college scope as well. And again, like depending on, what's going on there, and we're getting ready to, they're semester based, right? So the break is getting ready to come up. So that means I have nothing after my day job to do in the evenings.
But write and
So
plan.
yeah, but like write and do this. So I had that whole year of COVID where when we first moved up here that, I wasn't on the contract for the full-time job. I was searching for a part-time job. So my full-time job was writing, and I wrote so freaking much that now I have nothing to, like, I can't keep up with what I have. So I've got to start getting it out there, which means I got to start getting it edited, which means I've got to start making money enough to get it edited so that it's not.
Continues.
Yes, the cycle continues.
And yeah, like again, just like she just mentioned, winter is a prime writing time. And I get like that seasonal affective disorder. Like I could hibernate for the winter.
Darren
like
does
honestly,
that, yeah.
I could just do it. So I've got, I get like that little light, that helps to give you more like sunshine feel or whatever, which is crazy because it's not like I want to go out in the sun.
But it helps. It does help.
But getting that light, it does help, with that. And then keeping myself scheduled, because I can fail myself, right? I can push my own projects around, but if I'm committed to be in someone's group, if I'm committed to put a story in someone's set, if I'm committed to other people, that that part of me that doesn't want to let someone else down or be, the kicks in. And so that's how I get through winter. So it seems like a lot of obligation and a lot of work, and it is, and I'm tired. And especially when those kittens are waking me up at 4:00 in the morning, but as long as I got other people that I can commit my time and efforts to, then I'll get up and do it.
Right. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour. So before we head out, is there anything that anyone wants to specifically highlight? Any new book releases, any upcoming things? Cara, we will put your link for your Kickstarter in the show notes after we're done here. We'll make sure that's in that.
So I signed up for a second because our list aim that I was in with Jan didn't hit, sadly, but I had such a stress-free time with that. that my husband was like, he's like, there was another one, Realm of Midnight, that was looking for for people, and he was like, well, he says, give it one more shot. So I have that. So if anyone out there wants to do something awesome for Christmas for us, go grab it at one of those minor major retailers, the iBooks, the Barnes and Noble, and the Kobo, and because that will help us significantly. And then I think we get our Amazon link in January.
So. Awesome. Okay.
Good.
And Jane, how about you?
I've got, Belle came out last week, or at the beginning of this past, it's Saturday. At the beginning of this past week, Belle came out under my, not in a set. I've got the Shades of Night series coming out on the 13th in ebook. It's in hardcover, so I'm putting that out in ebook. And then in January, Jasmine comes out on January 3rd. So, and then later in January, once I get the cover, the 10 fairy tales will be in hardcover.
You get your work cut out for you with all that
Yes.
formatting.
Oh, well, that one's all formatted and waiting.
Oh,
I'm
you're
just-
done with that one.
Oh yeah, that one's all set. That one's all set. I just have to write the blurb,
Okay.
which is gonna, 10 books, you gotta kind of write it across it. So that's gonna be interesting. And then I have a cover editor slot with Cora in the middle of January. And
Wow.
that's when I'll talk to her about the other two that I'm struggling with right now. 180 pages has to come out.
Oh,
of
I
6
do
books,
not envy
so,
you. I do not envy you at all.
well, it just makes it, leaner and much more intense because the Steve Williams series is a very intense series anyway. So,
And you'll make it happen. There's no
oh
doubting
yeah,
that.
oh
You'll
yeah,
make it happen.
yes, because
All right.
there is some fat that can be trimmed.
Well, that is it for us, I think, for this year, unless we decide to do an impromptu New Year's Eve show. But
I won't be
all
here
of
New
our
Year's.
wonderful viewers out there, thank you for hanging out with us this year.
Yes,
We will be
thank you.
back in 2023. Everybody have a safe, happy holiday and New Year. And we'll see you then, guys.
Thank you.